AI, it is everywhere, and while some people think it's the start of a robot uprising that will take over the world and kill us all, some people use it as a tool for their professional life, but also their personal life. Now, I haven't used AI very long, but I've seen how integrated it's become with our way of life, and I wanted to make sure that I'm caught up and not left behind. And these AI chatbots can do amazing things. They can write a reply to an email for you, they can problem solve, they can even generate a brand new image from scratch. But the question is, there are so many companies out there that have their own AI chatbot, and what I wanted to know is which is the best. So I went out and I found 6 of the most popular, biggest AI chatbots on the market right now from some of the biggest companies in the world. And what I'm going to do is give them all the exact same prompt and see what the response is. Now, this can be a little bit personal because I will prefer the way some results and some answers are communicated to me, where you might like it slightly differently. So I'd love to know what you think is the best response or the best AI chatbot down below in the comments. So let's not waste any more time. Let's jump in and compare them all and see which is the best. So we're going to start with DeepSeek, and the prompt is make me an image of a man in a field. And you can see, unfortunately, DeepSeek doesn't create images at the moment, so not the strongest start. Next up, we have Gemini from Google, and once again, the same prompt, make me an image of a man in a field, and you can see the image that is generated here with a little bit of text below it, which is really helpful. What I also liked about this image is the focal range. So the foreground is blurry, you have the man and the flowers around him that's in focus, and then the background once again blurry. It makes the image feel so real, and even the man looks so incredibly real. Really impressed with this one. And next up we have ChatGPT, which is one of the most popular AI chatbots on the market. And you can see it needed a little bit more information before it generated the image, unlike the others which just went straight in and generated it. So it asked me a few questions. I tried to be as basic as possible because I didn't want to skew sort of the results. And as you can see, this image, even though it looks okay, it does look a little AI and fake. Next up we have Grok, and this is from Twitter or X, and as you can see it's given me 2 images, which is really nice. So it just straight away gives me a couple of options without me asking it to, the same prompt, and the images, they look half decent. Some of them look a little bit more realistic than, like I would say, the ChatGPT one did, but still it doesn't look quite right. It does look a little bit too polished. Next, we move to Meta AI, which is from Facebook, it's from WhatsApp, it's from Instagram, all of those companies from basically the founder of Facebook. It's Meta, and it's given me 4 different options. So we're getting more and more options from each of these AI chatbots, but once again, they do look a little fake. The thing that actually stands out is I have this little play button where I can animate, which just sounds insane. It's actually going to generate an animated image. I'll wait a little second for this to generate and I'll show you what the outcome is. So literally a few seconds have gone by and we have some GIFs basically. It hasn't done a full video, but we have some movement, some animation of the images that it's made, which is still really impressive that this can be made so quickly and so easily. And if I just click on one of the images, as you can see, it comes up and I have a few different options to just change it really quick, which is really, really helpful, where the others didn't have this much customizability. And last but not least, we have Copilot, and this is from Microsoft. And as you can see, same prompt, and straight away we have an image. It's a little bit more basic, and it's also the only one that has the man facing away from us, but still not too bad. Overall, my favorite is probably going to be the Google Gemini one, just because of how real it looks, and also all the different aspects of the photo just making it just seem better. So the next prompt is going to be who will win the next Super Bowl and why. Now this actually does have a few different answers. Starting with DeepSeek again, you can see that it actually has the last Super Bowl of 2025. The next one is going to be in Feb 2026, and that's why I wanted to test it by saying next Super Bowl, to see if it's intelligent enough to actually work out that I'm not on about the one that's already happened, because why would I want to know who will win if it's already happened? And it says Kansas City, But yeah, so this is a little bit silly because Kansas City also didn't win, and we're talking about something in the past. So not great start. And then moving on again to Gemini, it says about the early favourites for the 2026 Super Bowl LX, which is in fact the Super Bowl. It also tells you when it's going to start, which is helpful information, and also where it's located. So once again, it starts with some helpful information around the Super Bowl, when and where, and then it goes on to say the Philadelphia Eagles are frequently cited as the strongest contender, which is pretty accurate. I mean, they won last year, so yeah, or this year I should say. So let's move on to ChatGPT. And you can see once again it mentions Philadelphia Eagles. It also gives you some information to why it's said that, because it has some sources around some of the betting, around what sort of other betting agents are sort of saying are the winners. Move on to Grok, and as you can see, once again, it states when it's going to be, where it's going to be, and who it thinks is going to be winning by various sports books and gambling and betting. Basically, are all predicting the Philadelphia Eagles will once again come back-to-back champions. And when we go to Meta, we have the same issue as what we had with DeepSeek, which is it's talking about an old Super Bowl. And once again, not helpful because it's already happened. And I did mention who will win, as in something that hasn't happened yet, and also the next Super Bowl. Once again, all saying stuff in the future, where this is bringing up some history of the past. So, yeah, not great. And it even predicts on what the score is going to be. This has happened. We know the score. So this is just crazy. And lastly, we have Copilot, which once again it predicts the Philadelphia Eagles to be the winners and does give you some insight to some other potentials that could be some strong contenders. Now, I personally really like Google and also Grok, just because they give me a few more bits of information around when and where. And also what I really like about the Gemini and Google's is it highlights some of the important information that I'm looking for. So if I didn't want to read all of this, which is quite an in-depth summary, and a lot of them do have quite a lot of in-depth summary around them, some of them are a little bit shorter. But with Gemini and also with Grok, it gives me the information I want. It's just Gemini has a slight edge because of it highlighting the important information. Next up, we have a little bit more of a jokey prompt, which is who would win in a fight, 100 men or a silverback gorilla? Now, whereas DeepSeek has given us quite an in-depth breakdown of what the benefits are from the silverback to the 100 men, a likely outcome, and what the realistic scenario would say, and they've said the silverback would do pretty damn well, because it says the final answer, the gorilla will dominate unless the men have weapons, prep time, or insane teamwork. So it's basically saying the gorilla's going to win unless the humans, 100 men, actually can work together as a team very efficiently, but still thinks the gorilla has the edge. Now, asking Gemini, once again, it gives a full breakdown, which is really, really helpful, and it does have a little conclusion at the bottom that basically says there is no definitive real-world experiment to draw upon, thankfully, as this would be unethical, but the 100 men will potentially win just because of the sheer numbers, but they will need to have courage and coordination to do so, which I think is quite an accurate answer. We have ChatGPT, once again a breakdown of like the gorilla and also the men, and has a final verdict to say that just by sheer numbers I think that the men would win. Grok has a much shorter response. It does give the same sort of information, but it is a lot harder to sort of read because it isn't broken out like the other ones to this point. But it does have the same conclusion that says with 100 men it most likely would win just by sheer numbers. Meta also has a breakdown of the pros and cons, but also with a couple of different outcomes depending on how coordinated the humans are. And Copilot has the shortest answer, which does basically say that if they are coordinated again, the 100 men would win. But it does say a little bit of information around the silverback. It's just not as much information as what the other AI chatbots give. Another prompt I ran was doing an apology email. All of the AI chatbots did basically the exact same. They all did a very, very good job. So I'm just going to skip over that one. And I also asked it a question with a spelling mistake because some of you might be illiterate. Hey, I am too. So if you guys have spelling mistakes, it will still understand what you're trying to say, and that goes for all of them. So I've done Infinity War instead of Infinity War, and it has picked up on the movie in every single case, which is really good to know that it does actually understand you most of the time with very little issues, which is really helpful. This next prompt, some of you might be able to relate to. This is an Excel formula issue. So I've put in an Excel formula and asked, can it fix it? And the Excel formula is fairly simple, and the mistake is I put a full stop in between the letter and the number. And all of the AI chatbots recognize this, and they display the answer or the solution in slightly different ways. So this will be down to just preference of how you want it shown. As you can see here, it basically says that this is invalid, and it should be, as an example, this, and gives me the fixed to copy, so I can literally just copy the fix straight away or download it. Really helpful. It also gives me an explanation down below and some other sort of alternatives. If we go to Gemini, it also once again says that it shouldn't be this, it should be this, and it gives me what the formula should sort of look like here, and gives me a little brief explanation of what else I can do. We have ChatGPT that just simply says, that this isn't recognized and it should be this. And once again, you can copy it for ease, which is really helpful that DeepSeek and also ChatGPT, you can just copy the formula straight out of the AI chatbot. And if we go to Grok, once again, it tells me that this is the issue, this is the solution, how to fix it, and also some other formulas if that doesn't work, which is really helpful to show other examples of stuff if that still isn't the solution. And if we go to Meta, we do have the film little bits here from my last question, but at the bottom here, it does have the solution, it does say what the issue is, and then what the new formula should be. Very short, very simple. And if we go to Copilot, once again, Copilot has the shortest answers every single time, and this is no different, but it does give me the solution straight away. It says this should be this. Simple as that, and I can copy it. So only 3 of them, I believe, I was able to just copy it straight out of the AI chatbot and then just paste the solution, which is by far the easiest. What I really did like about Google's is it does give you some other options, which is quite helpful. But I do think the copying from DeepSeek, Grok, and also from Copilot is probably the best answers. Now, I really like Copilot's just the look of it right now. Super simple, super clean. The only issue I have is if it was a more in-depth problem, then I would probably want more of a explanation to why it wasn't right. And that's where Google and some of the others come in a bit better, because it has a bit more of an explanation to what's gone wrong and how to solve it. Whereas a short, simple answer, if it works, great. But if that solution doesn't work, then I don't understand how to fix the problem. So, my conclusion after quickly testing 6 of the most popular AI chatbots, I'm going for Gemini. It answered all the questions correctly. I personally thought that it generated the best image out of the lot. I haven't done extensive testing, but I found in that one example, it was the best for me personally. I also liked the way it displayed all the information. Very easy to read. Some of the times it did bullet points and made it super quick and easy, but still gave me all the information I wanted. A runner-up, I'm going to say, is ChatGPT, just because, once again, all the right information, it showed it all very well. Now, some of the others, they didn't do a bad job. I will say I'm not super impressed with DeepSeek and also Meta, because obviously it got some of the questions wrong, which obviously isn't ideal. And in terms of some of the others like Copilot, I didn't like in some cases how short some of the answers were. It was straight to the point and it was very clear, and also it was correct in a lot of the cases, but it's just sometimes I want a little bit more depth into some of my answers. And overall, they all did a fairly good job. I just feel that Gemini, for me, on a day-to-day, the way it presents the answer and the way it generates some of the images is just better for me. But I'd love to know what you think down below. Which do you think won that little battle, and which do you think you might use going forward in the future? Let me know down below. Don't forget to like and share this video. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you guys next time.